and welcome to the Support After Abortion Healing Network weekly Facebook Live event. We're so glad that you're here today. If you're watching, just take a few minutes right now to share this with all of your contacts, all of your friends on Facebook, because you're not going to want to miss, and they're not going to want to miss our guest today. Before we get to our guest, though, I just want to tell you how successful our Viable showing was this past week, so we're going to do it again. If you don't know what Viable is, it's a play, by a 3-person play written by John, I can't remember his last name, I want to say Hoover. It's an awesome representation of the harmful effects of abortion and how it can follow you. The effects can follow you throughout your life. So we're going to show it again on Saturday, December 5th, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's going to run through Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. But the best thing of all is that on Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to have the cast with a live Q&A. So you do not want to miss it. Just to set you up so you can see what this play is kind of alike, we're going to run a trailer for you right now. But I want you to know that some of it's hard to hear. Some of it's hard to watch. So if you get triggered at all, if you've been impacted by abortion and emotions come up for you, I want you to know that the Support After Abortion team is waiting to help you right now. You can make a comment on Facebook because we'll be tracking that, or you can reach out to our Hope line, and the number there is 844-289-4673. So now sit back and enjoy your trailer of the play Viable.
Did being pregnant hurt you?
Of course not. I just told you Becky was a healthy, happy baby.
And you? Were you a healthy, happy mom?
How old are you?
I would be 30.
Would be? That sounds a bit Downton Abbey, don't you think? Things you're asking about are things that nobody should know but me. I'm going crazy!
You're not crazy, Judy.
Then you're crazy. One of us is crazy. Were you scared 30 years ago tonight?
Oh.
You are the meanest person I have ever met.
Why do you say that?
Because you are, for whatever reason, pretending to be my first daughter. You didn't have to say a word to win our little argument.
But you did.
They promised me this would never happen. They promised me.
God wants you to know that you're free. Hush. Hey, I love you. I am here to tell you that Jesus loves you and that you are forgiven. Jesus wants you to experience his complete love and indescribable joy. God is loving, just, and merciful. Remain in him, and he will remain in you forever.
So there's just a little snippet of the play Viable. I'll tell you, it's about 70 minutes long. It's so worth the investment of your time. I watched it and I'm telling you, I was moved by it. So just to remind you, we're going to do that again, 24 hours of free viewing, free live streaming of Viable. That's just like renting a Redbox movie where you can watch 10 minutes of it, pause, go get something to drink, come back and pick up. 24-hour live streaming, Saturday, December 5th from 8 a.m. through 8 a.m. Sunday with live Q&A with the cast members on Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So as I'm about to introduce you to our guests today, and if you have any questions, please put them on Facebook. We'll see that we answer them along the way. So today I am so excited to invite to the show the very first person we had on the Healing Network Facebook Live back 6 months ago. We have Sheila Harper, the founder of SaveOne. Sheila, welcome back. You're like a regular on the show.
Oh, I feel so privileged. I'm so excited to be here. Every time I'm with you, Karen, I have a blast. We always laugh, always have fun.
We do. We do. So you've been a part of both of our virtual conferences,
Yeah.
and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But, you know, as we were preparing or just chatting before the show, I talked to you about the vision of having like a really big conference of people, right? 10,000. So Amy Ford told us about a women's ministry that she went to. It was 10,000 people. And she normally never talks about abortion, but she just felt it in her spirit. And she said, you know, I just am going to talk to you about something that's on my heart. You know, there's about 10,000 women here. Statistically, 1 out of 4 women by the age of 45 will have an abortion. That means that like 2,500 of you here today may have experienced abortion personally. And I just want you to know that the healing is possible. Stop by our booth. We will pray for you. We will wrap our arms around you and love you. And she said the booth was flooded. Can you imagine through our networking efforts what it would be like to be able to go to conferences and draw upon everybody that's in the network, bring hundreds of agencies, right? Because I know that we couldn't go to something like that and handle that kind of capacity. And I know you guys had a similar opportunity that was canceled because of COVID. Yeah. So that was a long introduction, but if you could just tell us about the Promise Keepers and the opportunity you guys had there.
Yes, well, we Promise Keepers had, if you don't know, they're a men's conference. And they were real popular a few years ago, but now they have come back with a vengeance. And they are tackling hard subjects. And one of those is the fact that men hurt after an abortion. And so they were going to have a person there speaking and telling his abortion testimony. But then SaveOne became one of the partner ministries with Promise Keepers. And my husband organized this huge, we were going to have a tent and going to have a whole team of men. And we were talking to other abortion recovery groups. They were all going to be there because we knew it was going to be in the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. And if that place was full, the amounts of men who would be coming forward, and some of them may not even come forward. I just knew if only half of the men came forward who were suffering after abortion, who had that guilt and shame in the back of their minds and in their hearts and never had a place to go to lay it all down, I knew this is going to be huge. And there's no way SaveOne could have taken care of all of those men. But it got canceled with COVID, and I was so disappointed. But we knew we needed a whole team of people there working to.
Yeah.
But all it takes is someone talking about it, and people come forward. It's almost like you're giving them permission to finally come forward and talk about abortion.
That's so right. And we're finding the same thing to be true, like through our virtual conferences with the outcome of the election there. I mean, not even the outcome so much, but the campaign, there was so much talk about abortion. We had a person that was at our conference come forward and say, man, listen, I'm struggling. I've never heard the word abortion so much. I mean, now it's time that I have to deal with this. Right. And so just talking about it and just really that's why I love this Play Viable, because it's a really unique way to portray how harmful abortion is. Mm-hmm. Taking politics out of it, taking morality out of it. You walk out of that clinic and you're not the same person. That's and it's right. Usually not for the better. Mm-hmm. Right. And so let's talk about that and let's get people set free. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It goes against the very nature of who we are created to be as men and as women. And so we shouldn't be surprised that there are detrimental consequences when we make choices that go against the nature of who we are.
Yeah. I just love how humble you are. You know, you're kind of like us, just willing to link arms and wrap our arms around people just so that we can help hurting people, right?
That's
just
right.
So that we can be available to them. I'm telling you, I'm with you. I'm ready to go like fill a stadium. Let's do it, girl.
Let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready. Everybody who wants to come on.
That's right. That's right. I would love for that to happen. So if there's any kind of organizer out there that can get a big group together like that, you let us know. You contact us at Support After Abortion. We'll be there with our team and all of our network to help people that are struggling after abortion, men and women, family members, all of that kind of stuff. So that's awesome. You know, you were in our last, I'm going to switch subjects here for a little bit. You are in our last virtual conference and you spoke about a book that you wrote called Finding You. Can you tell us what that's about and what you have found in your ministry?
Well, as we have been at SaveOne, that's all we do is abortion recovery. We help men, women, and families recover after abortion. And this was our 20-year anniversary. And so throughout this 20-year period, I was seeing more and more that the more we helped people with recovery after abortion, the more I started realizing that they had some type of sexual trauma or childhood sexual abuse or something like that that happened before the abortion. And so it was kind of like I was seeing that abortion oftentimes is the aftermath of childhood sexual abuse. And so the more I saw this, it's like I was helping them with abortion recovery, but then I was referring them out to further and continue their counseling and that type of thing for their sexual trauma. And so finally I started realizing, you know what, if the word of God is working to heal those who are needing help after abortion, why can't we just do the same thing with sexual trauma? And so my husband and I were pastoring at the time. And so I just offered the group, I just said, hey, I want to teach this childhood sexual abuse or sexual trauma class. And I invited anybody who was suffering from something like that from their past to come forward. And the very first class, I think I had 8 or 10 come forward, just as many men as women. And so I told them up front, I'm going to be writing a curriculum as we go. You guys are going to be helping me. I'm going to be learning. And each week I wrote that curriculum. I took the summer off, offered that same class again in the fall, continued to write and develop. And the second time I offered it, again, just as many men as women. It was amazing.
That is so good.
Oh, it was incredible. And so I had all of those people write letters to future participants. And so at the end of every chapter in this book, they have a letter from one of those participants that helped me develop this curriculum. And so now we're starting to see Finding You groups popping up just as much as we are SaveOne groups. And I love seeing that. It's been awesome.
That's so awesome. We find that as well. And that's why we offer a sexual trauma virtual group as well. And so if you don't know about our virtual groups, you can go to our website under the resource tabs, and there's all kinds of virtual groups. We're going to be launching about 15 come January. And so you just plug into wherever it is that you need some support. So this, if I didn't even know about this book, Finding You.
Oh,
now,
wow.
you are like an author. How many books have you written, Sheila? I just got to know.
I've written 10 altogether.
10 books in 20 years. That's a book every 2 years. My goodness, I never thought I would write a book, and it's not an easy process to go through. Can you name them? Can you name them and tell us what they're about?
Yes. The first book was the SaveOne Women's Study. That was the very first book that I wrote. The second one was actually a pregnancy journal, because I started realizing we were helping people make the right decision for life, but then I would go look for a pregnancy journal to give them, and nothing I was seeing was resonating with the situation that these young girls were in. So I wrote a pregnancy journal that just focuses on that mom. And then I wrote the men's study that later on my husband now has reworked from a man's standpoint. Then I wrote my own story called Survivor. It's my entire abortion story, my whole testimony of what I went through after an abortion, how I justified the decision, and then what God did for me. And then I wrote, they're up here. And then I wrote The Ripple Effect, which is the third Bible study. I think that one was next. That is for people like grandparents and siblings and family members who are suffering after a loved one's abortion and they're grieving. So that's 5. I wrote a book called Island Living, which is a book that I wrote with another pastor's wife, and it doesn't have anything to do with the abortion subject. We just wrote it from the standpoint of being a pastor's wife and how you kind of move out onto this island. And it's really for anybody in leadership, in that high level leadership, because we're created for community, but we, from betrayals and people leaving us and stuff like that, it's like we isolate ourselves, and before we know it, we're over here on this island all by ourselves. So I wrote that with one of my good friends called Island Living. That's 6. Then I wrote a book called My Sister's Keeper. This is a Bible study that was created for people to take and run with in their churches to teach women how to treat each other. Because so many times we compete and compare and we stab each other in the back, and all we're really doing is hurting ourselves. But if we treat each other and realize that I need to be your keeper, Karen, I don't need to like talk bad about you the minute I walk away. I'm your keeper and I need you to be my keeper. And so anyway, I wrote a Bible study called My Sister's Keeper. And then later on, I wrote, this came out just this year, My Sister's Keeper 30-day deep dive. And it's a devotional that it's 30 devotionals that just kind of solidify that keeping message in your mind. I wrote a book. This was one of my favorite books that I wrote called Is There Not a Cause? And it is based on the 5 words that David said when he went out onto the battlefield and he saw that the army had given up and they were hiding because the circumstances changed. They were now having to face a giant. And he reminded them there's a cause that's worth fighting for. And so I wrote a book called Is There Not a Cause? And it just reminds people that this is abortion is an issue we have to be fighting. We may be fighting a giant, but the biblical precedent is that we win, we overcome giants. So anyway, is there not a cause? And then number 10, I'm trying to think, Finding You. I forgot about that one.
Oh my God, you are like the queen. I'm like, I didn't even know half of those books were written. Where can people get, this is like a network all unto itself, right? She's got like a resource for everything that you could possibly want. Where can they get that, Sheila? Where can they get all that stuff?
Straight to SaveOne.org, and you click on the store, or I think it's resources, and they're all listed there. You could order.
So do you have like a bundle of them all?
Well, we have a 10-book package that you can mix and match and get whichever books you want, because they're all the same price. We're not getting rich off this. They're only $12, but a 10-book package is $95. So
that is so awesome.
Have all of them.
So we got our soldiers showing up here in the comments like, I'm ready to go to that stadium. I'm ready to help people. So thank you all for watching. Wow, that's amazing. So you have all of these resources. You've been doing this for 20 years. You're all over the world, right? Like You must have an enormous staff. And like, how did you do?
We have a staff of 15, and they're incredible, awesome. I love them all so much. And so many of them have been with us many, many years, and they're great. I mean, they know this stuff like I do.
Now you say a staff of 15, is that like, those are all paid people? Like you have 15?
No, only 2 of us are paid. And then the other 13 are all volunteers.
What?
They're volunteers. And
there's only 2 paid people on your staff?
Yes.
Oh my word. So, wow. So tell me how you did that. How did you get volunteers that were so loyal? I mean, do they work full time for you, like the volunteers?
Oh, no, they don't work full time, but a lot is required of them. I do have to say, to me, I wish I could say like, oh, this is my 10-point plan to get good volunteers. But seriously, I feel like that these people have gravitated toward us because we just offer hope and healing. And it's like they find that hope and healing through SaveOne. I mean, it's Jesus Christ working through SaveOne, and they're drawn to that. And then they want to be a part of seeing other people experience the same thing they did. And so it's just kind of like this natural process. And I say all the time that when we get people who are abortion wounded into recovery, they're healed through the Word of God, they become the greatest advocates, the greatest volunteers, the loudest voices, the most the most impassioned soldiers on the battlefield, because they want to see God take what the enemy meant for evil and use it for good in the lives of other people. And so I seriously think that's why we have built this incredible staff, is because it's just people wanting to help other people. And so we give them that avenue to do that.
Yeah. We find that too, and that's exactly how I was, right? I mean, my life was so totally transformed after I went through just one healing program, and it was very entry level. I mean, the scales just came off of my eyes, and I was like a new person in those. And there was like, there's no way I'm not going to help somebody from wasting decades of their life in this pain.
Mm-hmm.
To either had become such a great person of shoving things down, so that I didn't even know I was hurting, or just self-sabotaging and didn't know why. It really wasn't until I told my story out loud for the first time that all the dots were connected. Like, oh, it's because of your abortion that you did that. It's because of your abortion you did that, and that, and that, and that. And like, how many other people out there are doing the very same things I did because they had an abortion in their past? So
Right.
good. I want to go back to sexual abuse just for a minute, because I'm having a vision now of the stadium. I mean, sex trafficking is so huge in this country.
Yeah.
We could fill a stadium with organizations that offer support for sex trafficking victims. And I don't even know what the percentage are that have had an abortion, but I bet you it's way higher than the general population.
I bet.
Think about the impact. Are you with me, Sheila?
Yes, I'm right there with you.
If you are watching and you are part of the sex trafficking organization around the country, I'd love to talk to you to see how we can come alongside you and help the people that you're serving, either your residents, the people in your program, or people that have graduated from your program, whoever. We would love to be able to come alongside you and do that.
All of this goes hand in hand. And I feel
Yes.
like the sex trafficking has become so prevalent in our nation and around the world because we devalued life back here. And so it's not going to get better. It's going to continue to get worse until we get back to valuing life.
Yeah, I'm with you so much. So many great comments of people that have read your resources and are saying that the 5-day journal is amazing. There's not a cause is so good. So I just want you to get that feedback. My sister's keeper will be used to develop my team. So good.
Awesome.
So I just want you to get that feedback. So let's talk about, so I heard in your presentation or in some conversation you had with somebody, like, just me saying that, I heard everybody should beware. But I heard, Sheila, that you had this great idea of having abortion healing enter into each capital city in this country and then have a spider come out to provide healing.
A spider? No, not a spider.
Is that right?
No, I didn't say a spider. I would go screaming if a spider came out. No, what I said was.
I'm sorry, y'all. That's what I heard.
It shows you like how things get changed, doesn't it? No, I said this is my vision. You want me to tell you my vision?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if we could go into every capital city in America, and from that capital city start as many abortion recovery chapters, entities in pregnancy centers and churches and ministries and wherever, start and like have them trained and ready, and then blanket that capital city with the truth, with this is what's available, and are you suffering, and billboards like on every major highway, are you suffering after abortion, call this number, email this place, and then we're going to have a place right there in their city to send them. But what I said was, then it would go out like spider legs in every direction. Not a spider, but it would come out like spider legs and go in every direction and go across that state. And so going into every capital city is my dream. And I know one day I'm going to see that. I'm going to have some funding that comes through, and we're going to start it.
So Sheila, I have a follow-up question, and thank you for clarifying. I mean, like, an army of spiders coming out of the Capitol would not help anybody recover from their abortion experience. So thank you for describing that. But so let's talk about that. Not only after equipping this network of agencies and churches and ministries and therapists and whomever to be able to provide healing for those in the capital city, how do you think the whole culture of that city would change?
Oh my gosh, I think it would change of course you're going to bring out the people who are going to try to tear it down and hurt you and all of that. You always bring those people out. I'm sure you guys have suffered many times at the hands of the crazies, but on the other hand, churches would get stronger, workplaces would have less drama, families would be put back together, marriages would be restored. What does that do for a community? What does that do for a culture? When men and women become who they're supposed to be without all of this stuff this baggage that you're bringing with after an abortion. So I just see the culture changing drastically in that city for the better.
Yeah. And how the potential to impact, I mean, capital cities is where the politic is run in every state, right? I can just see it, changing everything. I mean, really transforming the world.
Yes.
Starting in our capital cities and influencing, the way people think about this very subject, right? Mm-hmm. We just really need to shift the paradigm away from, it being choice and into that it hurts, right? It's about people, humanizing abortion, not capitalizing it.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I know what you mean, and helping people realize that just because you make this choice, that's not the end. Like that doesn't just fix the problem, and you go back to regular life, because regular life doesn't exist anymore after that choice. And so just helping people realize that there is a true aftermath.
And for those of you that are watching, I want you to hear my heart. We're not trying to make you feel a way that you're not feeling, right? We're not trying to force you to feel bad about something that you don't feel bad about. We're just here because we know a lot of people really struggle emotionally after their abortion. And we want to help them sort through those emotions and help them to grieve their loss and to find closure. We're not trying to put words into anybody's mouth or anything. We're just trying to help those that are hurting. And I know you are too, Sheila, because you have your own story, when it comes to abortion. Yeah. Okay, so here is a question. Isn't there a group, maybe yes or no, isn't there a group who does pro-life billboards across America? Do you know about that, Sheila, at all?
No, I don't know. But that's a good thing to look into, to see about.
Yeah.
Huh.
So sometimes you might see my face and I'm smiling and Sheila's talking about something that's really serious. It's because I am just so excited by the comments that we're getting. Everybody is so relieved that it's not spiders coming out of the Capitol. And it just keeps going on. And one person said, Sheila Harper and spiders, and just said, no way. That must be somebody that knows you pretty well.
Knows me well.
Yeah, for sure.
I have hurt myself before getting away from a spider.
Yeah. And so I want to talk a little bit, we Support After Abortion is kind of trying to lead in our own ministry, this networking kind of thing. That's why we have these Facebook Lives, is why we have these virtual conference and invite 60, 70 people that work in the industry to present. We want those 9 out of 10 people that don't know where to go for help to know where to go for help, right? Yes. But there's another organization that you and I are both part of, or a committee. It's called the Abortion Recovery Coalition, ARC for short. And so I would just like to ask, how do you see them playing a part in connecting those that are hurting with healing?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I am so excited about ARC, just because it has been, I have thought many years, and I had no idea how to make it happen, but I've thought for many years how much more powerful we would be united than separated. It's not that we were divided and didn't like each other. It was like all of us were just working in these silos on our own, doing our own work. But when we come together, the word says we sharpen each other, and we're so much more powerful united than we are separated. So anyway, this coalition coming together, I think that it's going to transform the industry, because not only we all have this in common, that we want to see abortion end in our country and around our world. But it's ecumenical. I mean, there's Catholic people, there's Pentecostal people, there's Baptist people, there's, You don't have to have some kind of like-minded, theology that, you have to believe this way. This is people coming together that have one goal in mind, and that is to see abortion end. And so we sharpen each other, we learn from each other, we can refer to each other. As far as I know, all the people that are involved are not trying to compete with each other or be territorial, because as we said earlier, there's no way one of us could reach the numbers, the millions of abortion wounded that are right here in our country. And so working together, I feel like it's transformational to the industry. Plus, I think it is a greater way to get the awareness out and help people know a place to go, just like you were saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just for those of you that are watching that have never heard of the Abortion Recovery Coalition, it's comprised of maybe 30, Sheila, 30 ministries, organizations that have a national presence in the abortion recovery or abortion support, abortion healing arena. We're all discussing that language right there. Should it be healing, recovery, or support? So, but I agree. I mean, there's so many people are coming at it from so many different angles and have their own lens that they're viewing it from, and it just creates, I think, tremendous dialogue. And I too believe that we just really have the opportunity as this body to just really set the standard for everybody out there and help to build and equip and build and strengthen abortion healing worldwide. Right?
Absolutely. I feel like this has been the missing link in the pro-life movement. Not that the pro-life movement has done anything wrong at all. They've been doing an incredible job. We've been doing an incredible job. But coming in, I always like to say, coming in from the back door and helping those that have already made that choice is just adding to all of our numbers. It's just adding to louder voices and more volunteers and a higher, louder, more forceful presence. And so I feel like this is the key. This is finally that last part that we needed to put us over the edge and see Roe overturned.
Yeah. And I love that you said that we all come from different faith backgrounds, right? We now know that there's a lot of people that profess to have no faith that have come forward and said that they're struggling after abortion, and can't you help me too? And so in going to the conferences that I've been to, like the Pro-Life Women's Conference, they had atheists for life. They were a pro-life organization. They just didn't believe in God. And they came to us and said, how are you going to help people like me that have had an abortion, that doesn't want to hear the word God? So we have found some non-faith-based curriculum, and we are resources, and we developed a resource of our own. So that's even available to those that have been impacted by abortion, which just makes that what was a very narrow road so much wider, right? Through offering faith and non-faith-based, offering it for men and women, offering it for family members and friends. What was once just women and a Bible study now has become like the gates are flung wide open. So going into 2021, what do you see? Have you had a vision, Sheila? I mean, like, what do you see happening in 2021?
Well, as far as SaveOne goes, we are already almost completely booked every Sunday. We have 11 Sundays open in 2021.
Wow.
To me, tells me that churches are starting to get it. They're realizing we have to talk about this subject from the pulpit to be able to help the people right here in our congregation. And they're starting to wake up and realize this is happening on our watch. And so as far as 2021, I see the Abortion Recovery Coalition doing great things, becoming so mighty and powerful and having a voice in every sphere of influence that's open to us. And I see abortion recovery just rising to the top in many organizations, whereas before, a lot of times we would see people, like put it way down here at the bottom line of their budget. And now it's starting to come up because they're like, oh, we see the value now. We understand that this is just as important as all this other stuff that we're doing. And so I love seeing that.
Yeah, and we will help you to do that. Our expansion arm is designed to do that, is to come alongside your ministry, your pregnancy center, and help equip you to increase your capacity to help those that are hurting. And so, we're at about 35 minutes. If anybody has a question, let me look real Oh, somebody said preach. Sheila, come on, Sheila, preach.
Oh, hey, I can preach if you want me to.
You do that on a lot of Sundays, so this has been so much fun.
My favorite subject. Sorry.
Yeah, it really is. I just so enjoy your company, and you're just so full of energy and joy. For those watching, it's probably some of your people, some of our people, some of our partnering pregnancy centers around the country, maybe even that man or woman that's been impacted by abortion has been too afraid to tell anybody. What are some final words that you have, Sheila?
Well, I always like to tell people, if you're watching this and you have an abortion and you've never really fully dealt with it, there's always a reason. There's always like that oh, I might run into somebody I know, or if I have a book that I work through, my kids might see it, or there's always a reason. There's never going to be just a straight and open path that, oh, now is the time to go deal with that past abortion. So I encourage you, when all of those reasons why you shouldn't deal with that past abortion come into your mind, question that. Take that first excuse out and go, okay, let me really look at this. Is this really valid, or can I overcome this? Because there's a reason. It's the enemy putting all of these doubts into your mind, all of these reasons into your mind to hold you back, because he knows how powerful your story is. Yeah. Revelation 12:11 says we overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so he doesn't want you free. He doesn't want you healed. He doesn't want you to tell anybody. And I don't know any of our curriculums or any of the abortion recovery groups that say, okay, now it's time for you to go tell everybody you had an abortion. That's certainly not part of SaveOne. But so you don't have to go tell everybody, but you do just have to be willing to be used by God, to be that vessel that says, you know what, I'll raise my children to know the value of life. I will tell anybody who comes into my path that God wants me to tell. I'll tell them. And it may be never, or it may be tomorrow, but there's a reason why you should be healed if you are still dealing with that regret and that shame and that pain from a past abortion. And so I just want you to question it. Just question those excuses, and then let us help you overcome them, because there's so many people that had those same excuses and overcame them through Jesus Christ. And so anyway, I'll shut up now, but we're here to help. Support After Abortion is here to help.
Yeah, pick up the phone, email Sheila at SaveOne.org. Call our Hope line. We're not going to judge you. We've sat in the same seat as you, right? And we know that healing is possible. I mean, oh my gosh, God has put so much purpose to my pain, and he can do the same for you. And then you can go volunteer for Support After Abortion or SaveOne, right? Yeah. And we'll just build our tribe. So I just thank you all for watching. Sheila, thanks so much for being such an awesome guest. I want to remind everybody that Saturday, December 5th, we're going to do the live streaming for 24 Hours of Bible. On that evening at 7 p.m., we're going to have a live Q&A with the cast and the playwright, producer, director of the show. You don't want to miss it. It's so good. As always, I'm here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much for watching.